Emma Miskew. Emma, thank you so much for being here.
Hi, thanks for having me.
Um, Kind of a crazy summer, so we have to start there with quarantine and COVID and isolation, and we don't know what's going on with the season. How are you keeping active, fit, training?
Yeah, it was definitely weird times at first, and it's been weird times for everyone. And from the start, for for us, it was just everyone stay safe. It's so easy to get complacent with this and get bored of this quarantine and everything being closed and just go out and do things again. But it's so risky, and until there's a vaccine or a cure, we all need to stay safe. But yeah, for training, that was definitely something that we all had to think about. I was lucky; I already had a little bit of a gym set up in my basement. I have a townhouse here in just a small area of the unfinished part. I have some machines, so I've got a bike and I've got a rower and some of those Bowflex dumbbells that are adjustable, so I could pretty much do anything. And my personal trainer wrote me a program. I took a picture of everything I had in the room and said, "Can you write me a program that will do with what I have here?" And so that's how it's been working. And luckily it was summer, run outside and do outdoor activities. And I got a cottage, I've been paddle boarding. So a lot that is great because it is nice outside, but I'm hoping that by the time winter comes, things are a little different.
Yeah, you guys don't even know what to do in winter because you spend all of it in an ice box. Like you're in a club or in an arena.
Yeah, or on a plane or in a hotel room. So it will be, hopefully some of that will still happen. I know it's going to look very different from our normal season, but we're still hoping and desperately keeping our fingers crossed that some form of curling will happen and safely.
Yeah, for someone like me who just sits at home and watches it now, I don't play anymore. I want it to happen too because I like it on my TV.
Yeah.
But let's get to some of the questions that some people have sent in here. So let's start with this one from Michael Putnins in Grimsby. I'm going to assume this is during this normal times. How many hours a day do you practice?
Yeah, normal time when we have ice, practice time, it's at least an hour a day. But increase depending on how many players on the team are present at the same time. So if I'm alone, it's probably at least an hour, and then it can go up to 2 or 3 if we have a full team practicing at the same time. And on top of that, there is at least an hour of lifting training or cardio on top of that. So those combined, it's a few hours a day.
Yeah, so on a slow day, it's 2 hours?
Yeah.
I don't do anything 2 hours a day. Like nothing. There's no thing I want to do for 2 hours a day. You guys are dedicated. That's awesome. What would you say? Oh, sorry. I got a list where this one's going from far away too. This is Aaron Marquardt from Los Angeles.
Wow.
Yeah, right?
That's awesome.
What is the hardest part of being a curler?
Well, that's tough because it's pretty amazing, and we've had such a great ride so far and such great support. And the hardest part is probably the amount of time that we're away from home. Over the winter between September and April, normally we are gone at least 50% of that time, if not more, or in planes, or there's canceled or delayed flights because of weather, and then you get home a little bit later. So that sort of thing can be hard because we all have people that we love at home that we miss, and a couple teammates have kids or dogs or whatever, but it's hard to be gone that much. We love it so much though that it's worth it.
You're married. Are you mentally prepared for all that time together this winter?
Yeah, I'd be okay with it. He probably isn't ready for it. He's used to all this home time where he can hang out and do the dishes whenever he feels like it, and doesn't have me telling him to do the dishes. So,
You have to fight
yeah,
for
we'll
the
see.
TV. That's hilarious. All right, what else do we got here? From Angelique DeCosmo in Hamilton, the Glanford Curling Club. What inspired your love of curling?
Great question. My dad brought me out when I was 5 years old, and at the time I didn't really know what curling really was. They explained it to you. I couldn't slide and I couldn't really do anything with the rock, so I just sit in the hack and push the rock from the hack without sliding. And then I really liked the social part of it at first, where there's a whole bunch of kids there and you have a little hot chocolate break, but I never really fell in love with it until I started competing and traveling to other curling clubs for Little Rock events around the city and against people that I don't know, and it really sparked the competitiveness in me, and I was good at it. So I loved the competition side, and then the second love came when I found a group of girls when I got into the bantam ranks, which is what it was called at the time. I think we were 11, that all had similar goals and were friends, and it just became not only an enjoyable experience together to go to different events and travel away on weekends, but also the competition and the drive and trying to get better and practice together to get better. I fell in love with that as well, seeing your work pay off. The joys of winning, the heartbreaks of losing, but knowing you can still get up the next day and you just work harder to do better the next time. That's something I definitely fell in love with.
When you were 11, were you already playing with, like, were you, is that with Rachel Homan at that point already?
Yeah, that's when we started playing together when we were 11.
So how many years now then?
Well, we both just turned 31, so we're on the 20-year anniversary.
I haven't had a relationship that long in my life. My parents, maybe, but like that's a long time.
That's always what Joe says. She's like, you guys have been playing together longer than a lot of people are married for. Yeah.
I got married young, and we still haven't been together that long. It's such a long time, but it's also unique in that, like, 11 and 30, you're very different people.
Yeah.
So you go through all these different winding roads of life, but you've still found a way to be teammates.
Yeah, and I think a lot of it was, I mean, there were obviously ups and downs within that time, but learning to grow together and make those decisions together. And I think something that made it a lot easier for us is that we both have such a crazy competitive drive that, and then when we see that in each other, it's easy to tough out the losses together and ride the wins together when we know that we're both working our butts off to be the best that we can possibly be.
Are you like hyper competitive at everything, like board games and stuff?
Yeah.
That's awesome. So that's what, if there's no curling season this year, you and your husband can play board games, and that's where you can get your competitive fires going.
Yeah, I don't think he enjoys playing those games with me because it's not as fun for other people. Well, no, or if I lose, I'm a sore loser. I handle curling losses better than board games, apparently.
Hey, at least you're self-aware, right? At least you're self-aware. It's fine. That's awesome. All right, let's get back to some of the questions from people from around Ontario here. This is from Aidan Fraser in Peterborough, the Ennismore Curling Club. Who, in your opinion, is the hardest opponent to win against?
We get that question a lot at up close and personals that we do during events, but I think it can change sometimes because everyone has their moments, like ups and downs. Like playing Team Anderson this year at the Scotties, like they were on fire and it was really hard to play against them. And then sometimes it's Team Jones and sometimes it's Team Hasselborg from Sweden. So that everyone has their moment where it's very tough to play against them and they're really feeling it. So, I mean, those three teams are always a great competitors. It's hard to play against them. So I'll answer it with that.
Yeah, well, that's one of the things about, well, not every sport, but curling for sure, is people get on hot streaks, right? Like,
yeah.
just if someone, and it doesn't even have to be a whole team, right? If like a vice or a skip just gets on fire, that can lift the whole team by that one player just playing that little bit better that week.
Well, we had a couple of events this year where we ran against skips that played 100%, and we were playing quite well, and they just made everything, and they beat us. And one of them was Team Fujisawa from Japan, and one of them was Team Kim from Korea. And we were like, we did not play poorly. We played well, and we didn't stand a chance. They just were all over us at skip, and Rachel played well. So you never know. It's just going to be who plays well at that specific time on that day, and that's why the ranking system's constantly changing.
Yeah, and that's why it's, curling anyways, it's a season, and even in the championships they try to reward, the page playoff system. You try to reward consistency over time, not just one win, right? Exactly. Yeah. All right.
Hello, my name is William Drosophos, and I'm a member of the Unionville Curling Club. My question is there any curling scholarships in Canada or the United States?
Yeah, that's a great question. I know there are, I'm not sure about in the US, but I know in Canada there are a couple. There was a For the Love of Curling scholarship with Curling Canada. So you apply through them. And I believe there was a Sandra Schmerler scholarship of some sort. So look into those. It's been a while since I was applying for scholarships, so I'm not super current on what's out there. But take a look at those two and see if it links to anything else.
Did you ever play CIS or anything? Or were you too busy with, I don't even know if you went to school. That's a step.
Yeah. But, I did. I went to Carleton.
So or were you just too busy with your team?
I was, but I wanted to play one year. I just thought it would be fun. And there were a few other, actually my competitors at the time around Ottawa, who also went to Carleton, and we thought we could put a team together and just go to the CIS championships. And we did. Carleton didn't have a designated curling team at the time, so we had to kind of make one and get their approval that we could go, but on our own budget and all this sort of thing. So it didn't really feel like we were playing for Carleton as much as we were going representing them, but they weren't really involved. But it was fun that one time we got to go. Otherwise, I did not have time. Between my schoolings, I went to Carleton for industrial design.
Oh, cool.
So it's a pretty intense program. Not a lot of free time. I was already quite behind or working and doing my stuff in advance so that I could submit my projects, and then I would leave and go compete, and I would come back and either present the next thing or write an exam or whatever it was. So to mix in another team and practices with that team on top of my team, it just wasn't feasible, nor do I think it was smart. I ended up finishing school and really happy with the degree that I got and worked hard at, and I'm glad I didn't overdo it while I was trying to get that degree.
Yeah, that makes it tough. You can only commit to so many things.
Exactly.
All right, let's get to another one here. This one's from Kylie Hewitt in Aurelia, in the Aurelia Curling Club. Over all the years, what is your most memorable win?
That is another great question. Winning the World Championships in Beijing felt amazing. We had gone twice before and had a bronze and a silver, and really wanted to bring back a gold medal for Canada. It had been a while since the women had done that. So that felt amazing. But the greatest moment, and I still get goosebumps when I talk about it, was winning the trials final in Ottawa in front of a home crowd. I was born and raised here, and having the trials in my hometown in a building that I have gone to for years to cheer on the Ottawa Senators, and then to be on the ice level, and the amount of people who came to watch us and the just energy in that crowd, it was like nothing I've ever experienced before. I'll never forget it. It was the coolest, greatest moment in my life, for sure.
So you guys have done a lot, won a lot. You said you're hyper competitive. How do you keep that going? Right? Like, I mean, you have to have checked off most of your goals from when you were 11 years old, right?
A few. I mean, obviously, it's no secret that our Olympic experience was not what we wanted. So there's a little bit of motivation hidden in there, not so hidden maybe. But it's also just checking off the boxes of goals is one thing, but I mean, I just love the competition of the game, and it's not about, okay, I achieved everything, I'm good, I don't need to do this anymore. I still love doing this. It makes me happy. It brings joy to my life. So I'm going to keep doing it until I'm at the point where I no longer feel that way.
Awesome. And this interview hopefully brought joy to a bunch of people's lives across Ontario. Thanks for answering some questions, and thanks for being the first one. You're the test subject.
Oh, there you go. Good
there
tester.
You go. Yeah. So thank you so much.
Yeah, thanks for having me, and I hope everyone stays safe and enjoy the rest of your summers.